normal with everyone else,
Mm-hmm.
but it is not, it's not unobvious that for like a week there he left the room whenever Ram entered.
Right. Well, not even that. Like even during just the normal, um, during our job, what we were doing, like he checked out,
Oh yeah.
and Lauren hasn't had a proper chance to corner him and do her arbiter thing. So,
Mm-hmm. At what point does this take place then?
this will be,
After Raiders?
yeah, it's after Raiders because
Okay.
everything kind of went really fast, and immediately after the Raiders left, like we kind of went cryo. So, this will probably be a day or two after they wake up. Day one is probably
Mhm.
when everyone's kind of getting situated again.
Well, day one, Hana's not able to move around anyway, really.
Right. Um, so day two or three, I think, and I'm trying to remember when she talked to everyone else. I think day two was when she talked to Ryan, Finn, and some other people.
Mm-hmm.
So this could be after she spoke to them, so she knows
Day
what
three, give it
happened.
up for day three?
Give it up to day three. We could do day three, yeah.
Okay.
Because I think, was it day four that uh, Ram came by with Mac? Or was it day three as well?
We can say it's day 4. That one doesn't really matter.
I know it
Near
was
apart.
mentioned at what day it was, but it really doesn't matter, does it? Um,
Yeah. We'll say it's day 4. We'll give Lauren a break on day 3.
well, I know we stated what day it was before in that other one, so we'll just say that this is a day that
And
is
put it on the timeline.
between or
Sorry.
something. It's in between. Well, basically, it's post finding out about what happened during shock and pre docking at the mouse.
Okay. Okay.
And whenever Lauren sees a convenient time to swoop in on Hana.
Okay. Well, in the first beginning of the week, then Lorne will notice that Hana's not in his workshop nearly as much.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime she goes to visit there, he's not there. His stuff is still kind of locked up. And he's just not in there as much.
Okay.
Um, he's keeping a lot to like his room or the general living area. Um, occasionally engineering.
Okay. Then she will approach him in his room. Then I think.
Okay. Okay.
Or
Okay.
okay, I'm trying to think of best private place to speak to someone. The rooms are paper thin, so not exactly there.
Well, I mean, if you speak quieter, it's just like if you're screaming in the room, everyone else around you can hear it. I don't think it's paper thin, as in the people can hear you talking.
True. Oh,
It's
okay.
just if you're bang-a-langing, everyone will know you're bang-a-langing.
Exactly. Yeah, she'll approach him in his room then.
Okay, does she knock? Does she wait until he's coming out or going in, or?
No, she'll. So this is by the time we can make it after her talk with Mac and them, because then she's not using vents also. So,
Mm-hmm.
she walks down the corridor. Actually, actually walking through.
Mm-hmm.
Walks into the living space, heads towards Hana's door, and then tap tap on the door.
Who is it?
It's me.
Door's open.
And you hear however loud the door is, you hear it open.
You see him. He's sitting on a chair nearby his bed, surrounded by plants.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a little, what was once a full glass of water, not for him, but for watering everything, is now like 2/3 empty. And there's a couple ice cubes in the other plants to slowly water them.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a hollow pad on. It looks like he was doing some reading.
Okay, I'm gonna roll stealth anyways, cause she's always quiet on her feet. So quietly slips in and closes the door behind her.
He looks up.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
That is good.
In fact, that is why I'm here.
Oh.
Not as to how well I'm doing, but more of how well are you doing?
Is this an arbiter check?
Yes. She
You
says
should
as she
really lead with
eases
that so I
herself.
know to. You should really lead with that so I know to lock the door.
To prevent myself from coming in.
Just make it a little more difficult for you. I know there's a vent leading to my room and wouldn't stop you.
It would, in fact.
Oh?
I have made a promise to Mac.
To stop using vents?
Up here, at least.
It will do her a lot of good.
Yes.
You make her nervous, you know.
I know. I am working to make amends.
He nods.
This meeting, however, is not about myself.
Of course, nor is it about Mac. What do you want to know, Arbiter?
How are you faring right now?
Perfectly fine, if I'm being honest.
Is he being honest? Let me roll. To see how honest he is being. You naughty bean. 3 to see in your soul.
He's not being wholly truthful, but he's being
Actually,
pseudo-truthful.
I think I have more. Yeah, I have a specialty in this now.
It's fine. He's not resisting you.
Hapa! Okay. 4 to see into your soul.
Lorne vomits up emotions that she gets from reading. You can tell he's not being wholly truthful, but he's not being dishonest either. He's not in distress at this very moment. He's actually quite calm.
He's fine right now, but in the past he wasn't.
Correct. And it's clear he's leading with that answer because he knows he's going to get called out anyway, so might as well.
Well, I can see you are doing well now. But prior, I know you were struggling there.
I'm going to need a timeline.
Let's move backwards in time, I think, then.
All right, to when?
The Morgan.
The side of his mouth twitches a little bit. Which point?
Let's start with just before its departure.
The weapons base?
I suppose we could handle this in order then. I'm trying to think of when the last time she did a mental check on him was.
Oh, it's been a minute. He hasn't come and talked to you since the first, the Iris ship.
True. And she didn't really talk to him for that part.
He came to her.
But yeah, he came to her. Since going backwards would be a little more difficult, we'll just start from the beginning. Yes.
When they first arrived?
When they first arrived.
I wasn't as nervous as everyone thought I would be. I think when raiders showed up, people pegged me as the first one to crack. And to be fair, I was very obviously upset. Right.
Yes.
They showed up, commandeered the ship, and said, I want you to go to a weapons manufacturing base to get me a weapon. Now that's a whole lot of bullshit. So yes, I was upset. But nothing existential, nothing long-lasting. I had a bit of information that kept me calm.
That is good.
Yes, well, I was a little too confident. Overly so. He looks annoyed.
Well, we're gonna drop some empathy bombs here while you're talking.
Is that 4 success your empathy bomb?
That is a 4 success. Give me a second. Let me reroll 2 of those 8s.
Well, Let me
It's a
get my
5 success.
Oh my fucking god, it's physically impossible for me to resist you. Okay. With that crit, you can tell that he was about to elaborate, but a kind of bitterness, a bitter expression envelops his face, and he doesn't. He chooses not to. With your critical success, you can tell it's nothing from that moment that is bringing the bitterness, but more of the whom the detail encompasses. You can tell he's annoyed that he has to swallow his pride and admit that he was a little cocky.
Mm-hmm.
But more so, I think that he's angered that he gave these people benefit of the doubt.
Okay. But there was
But
that
no,
little tidbit of there's something more.
there's something more, and I'm not talking about it. Yep.
Mm.
It doesn't seem like he does. It's that he's even adverse to talking about it. It's just like, I'm going to talk about this. Ugh. No, I'm not.
There's something else.
No, not really. He's like,
Anna,
Lauren.
there is something else bothering you. Or perhaps someone.
We'll get there.
Do I need to roll for that, or we'll get there as a guarantee?
It's a guarantee.
All right. I will take your word for that.
So, what else are we to do? I'm cornered in my workshop by the raider captain. She's very interested in the things I know and the Terran technology that comes with it. And I have recently signed a fresh spanking new NDA. So, I'm not telling her jack. But there's a few things, like her gun. You know, I created that model many, many, many years ago.
I had not.
Yeah, I didn't think she had known either. So I was keen to look at it. I mean, I made it when I was what? 14, 16, maybe younger. It was old, full of flaws. He rolls his eyes. It was improved on several times. Guy's gone open source now, I suppose.
Yes.
And improved upon. Wanted to take a look at it, so gave her a little tidbit here and there in return for a look. That introduction alone had me knowing that a deal with her. A deal with her is not even ground. She will change the stakes as she pleases.
Of course, as we discovered.
Later, yes, it came up again. So, she'd been looking for me even before then. I should have been more cautious. On guard. I was more fascinated with the amount of Halo and Terran weaponry they had on board. It's not often you get to see that kind of thing.
It's true.
But the conditions in which I was offered to see them by were unacceptable. She would only show them if I were to watch them be used. He looks disgusted, and I have no interest in that.
I presume it was not a target's demonstration she was offering.
No. Morgan's bathed in blood. Of course, she'd only want to use it on living people. I should probably wear Freya's a fucking maniac.
What do you say?
In case you're unaware, Freya's a fucking maniac.
She keeps her opinion to herself.
So, we go and do her little job.
Yeah.
He just smiles bitterly. No choice behind it. Put everyone on our team in danger. Why? Because we don't have a choice. Everyone's giving Melv the stink eye because he decided to put his neck out for Ram, which is a decent thing to do, all things considered.
Yes.
And they're giving him shit because he's allowing this to happen. Well, what is he supposed to do? You say no. We have a gun to our head. His goal is just to keep everyone alive.
I'm gonna dropkick another empathy here, just, for giggles.
Mm-hmm.
Just 2 successes.
Reroll. Yeah.
Give me a second here. Let me reroll. Okay, 5.
Fuck off. Okay. You're catching a lot of secondhand frustration. He's really caught up on how people were treating Melv.
Mm-hmm.
It's clearly something that sits in his brain. Very obvious he cares.
Mm-hmm.
Very obvious he's pissed at others for how it was happening. And that he doesn't blame him at all for it. It's one of those where it's like someone else's problems affect you because you see how it affects them. So it still seems like he has a chip on his shoulder for Melv, for against other people. He says, so, you were there. We went and got the weapon.
Yes.
I'm a medic. Now let's just deliver that one over. How swell. How wonderful. Shakes his head. I could spit. We didn't have a choice.
Speaking of that mission, since we're going in order here, I do recall that you were having a very rough time with it.
Blinks a couple times. I don't recall.
Right? That's when the void was hitting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he just says, I don't recall.
Oh. 2 empathy.
He seems a little confused, slightly concerned. Genuinely doesn't have a lot of recollection of what you're mentioning.
Deep in the base. I'm trying to remember where exactly it hit.
It was in the control room. He had said that he was hearing a thrumming, and then he just kind of went quiet and sat down somewhere, I think.
Right. So she'll describe what she recalls from that. Back when we were in the control room, you went quiet. And as far as I could tell, it was non-responsive, right?
Yeah, he was pretty much non-responsive.
You were non-responsive and spoke of a thrumming. Do you recall this incident?
See if he does. He thinks. I'll be honest with you, Lauren. A lot of what happened in there is kind of a blur. It was very stressful, and my primary goal was just get out once it really started picking up.
It was.
I recall a control room. And I recall being very anxious, but the specifics are, if I'm honest with you, fuzzy.
And just to make sure he's being honest with her.
Yeah, he won't even roll the lie. He's being honest.
Okay. The situation was indeed stressful. And as I do recall, the stalkers, as I think they were called, were,
Those weren't stalkers.
weren't they?
No.
Weren't they?
Nope, stalkers were the little things, the
The
little
little
rat
things that
thing.
mimic voices, those are stalkers. They're
Oh.
psychological warfare rather than biological warfare.
Oh,
These ones were just called mutts.
these were called something, weren't they?
They're bioorganic weapons. So bows.
But weren't
BOWs.
they...
They were called mutts.
They're in mutts in the data logs. They're all called mutts, like mutations.
Okay. But they were, in the data log, it said they were a weapon as well, right?
They're bows, yeah.
Yeah.
Bioorganic weapons.
But they were
They're the
also
leftovers.
mnemonic one as well, though. Wasn't it? Or was that was it something else?
They didn't have a name
They
specifically.
They didn't have any specific title. No, they respond to ultrasound and they go frenzied at white noise. But that's about all the information we had on them.
Oh, give me a second, because I thought I read that they were the ones that was the reason why we were feeling terror.
No, we were feeling terror
No.
because of something else completely.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Absolutely different thing.
I thought the terror was from those
Nope.
critters, because they could...
Nope.
Are you sure?
There was another medic.
It's not like they can't do that, but it wasn't the reason we were feeling terror.
I believe
No, it was...
the big giant.
Well,
The queen was the one putting.
yeah.
The queen one was putting off the existential terror.
Yeah, the terror
If there was
still
a queen
from
there,
them.
we didn't meet her, but she might have been what was giving off the terror, but it wasn't them as a whole.
Okay, because I thought it was because there was just a bunch of them together.
No.
Doing it.
It was a very different thing.
And I think the terror Hana was feeling was something separate completely.
Well, we were all experiencing, on that level, we were all experiencing that terror as well.
I think it was, there were 3 boxes, right? One of them had the original thing we went to get for, the other one was a spare, and another one had another weapon in it.
I thought that was like our original thought, and I thought we thought it was
I'm thinking the one that had the other weapon in it was giving off the terror, because on that level we didn't have to roll to resist the thing.
Right.
It would have been a neutralizing agent.
True.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Give me a second, sorry.
All good.
Okay, yeah, I could have sworn. Okay, completely derailed myself there too. Whee! Although we did in-game theorize there might have been another weapon anyways, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I suppose we could attribute some of your terror at that point towards the other thing that may or may not have existed.
I felt where that was coming from, I think. It was a very specific feeling.
I do admit I was curious to see where it was coming from.
I didn't want to know, I think.
In the long run, it is best that we hadn't, I'm sure.
Go ahead and empathy, Lord, and I will.
Okay.
Since you were empathying this whole time, so I think it'd only be fair that you might be fixing something up here.
Yes, I rolled
Okay.
a 3.
He's recollecting back on something, but you can tell it's not. You get the feeling that he's in a different moment, not the moment you're asking him to be.
What are you remembering, Hannah?
Things that are said to you stay in confidentiality, do they, Lauren?
Yes,
I don't have to worry about you going and telling the captain.
you have my promise.
Good. He leans forward, crosses his arms. Last shock. Something happened. If you want to know about things that are bothering me, that is bothering me. It was before the raiders showed up. Before the vacation. You may remember I was especially twitchy.
I'll roll to see if she remembers. What do you think that would be?
A memory is, I think it's just a straight brains.
Straight brains is double, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Weep. Oh yeah, she remember. I do recall.
Mel was worried it was signs of me going buggy. Which I mean, maybe.
Could
But-
have been. That was post. It was Iris, is that what it was called?
Mhm.
The station? That was post Iris, and
Everything that followed.
yes, as I do recall, that was also not a very pleasant time for yourself.
All of it was very negative, stress-inducing. And you know that I have a penchant, or perhaps you don't. I have a penchant for not going to sleep immediately. Lauren would know this, because Lauren would have gone to talk to Hannah about how long he recommends for
Yep.
staying up after shock. So Lauren knows that Hannah pushes it for as long as he fucking can.
Mm-hmm.
When people are like, just 4 hours is pushing, he's like, do 5.
Right.
And
I am aware, yes.
last shock. Something happened. Different than usual. You see, when shock usually happens, he smiles at Lauren, you taste colors,
I do.
or I hear things. People talk to me. It's easy and it subsides, and then sometimes you'll get a ghost of something passing by. It's not real, it's an hallucination.
Lauren keeps
And
her
then
thoughts to herself.
Mm-hmm. And then it passes and it's gone. It can't touch you. It's not real. It'll go away if you ignore it. Well, last shock, it didn't go away. And no matter how hard I tried to ignore it, it was going to be there. And it wanted to kill me. Or at the very least, hurt me very, very badly.
She frowns. What was it, Anna?
A lot of people. They appeared in the lower engineering where I was with Mendy before Mendy went to sleep. And I continued my work. I heard footsteps behind me. They sounded like Mendy's, but I just told them to go to sleep, and I continued my work until I realized. And his ironic smile kind of falters a bit at the edges. I'd never heard those footsteps in my life. So I do as I always do during shock. I closed my eyes, I counted to 10, and told myself it wasn't real. And lo and behold, they went away.
Did they stay away?
Well, what I always do after that is I confirm to myself that it's gone. It's a way to stop my mind from making things up further. Because things can become wily in shock if you give them the opportunity to.
All right.
So I turned and I looked, and there wasn't just someone standing there. There were 8. Or I'd say there were 4, and then there were 8, and there were 10 people. And they blocked the entrance, and they stared at me with... They didn't have eyes, some of them. Others had lips that were sewn shut. Some had looked broken. They told me that it was my fault. They just said it over and over again. It's your fault, it's your fault.
They did not specify?
No.
Did you know what they were referencing?
Go ahead and detect lying.
I was about to. Let me roll this other 8. 3 successes. Oh,
That's a crit.
That's a crit fail.
When he said no, he's fucking lying. He's fucking lying, and more so. There's a lot he's leaving out.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot from this story that he's already started telling that there are details he has not told you that he's purposely left out. You are not getting the full story here.
Mm-hmm. I sense that there is a whole well of things that this draws upon.
That well is terribly deep, Lauren. You best not fall down it.
I am not concerned for myself. I am concerned for you.
Well, at the end of the day, this is for me to vent my emotions, is it not?
It
The
is.
details to you are unimportant.
Then carry on.
Thank you. The woman in front. I knew her. I knew all of them, actually. And I just wanted them to get away from me. They got closer and closer, and they looked dead. Dead.
Do you have empathy, my friend?
He can try.
Would you like to try?
Sure, we'll see if he passively accidentally picks something up. 1 success.
Technically, her clout, I think, would cover a lot of this. And I think...
Well, just roll your passive clout then.
I suppose, yeah. Because he reverses my credibility. My credibility means that
Well,
I
I
just
think
need to make
during
a success
friendly
rate.
RPs, we don't run credibility.
True. We'll roll.
More like whether or not you want her to be hiding it, whether you run credibility or not.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way Chance has been doing it, at least.
Okay. Well, I will roll to see. Well, she is in arbiter mode right now, so her own curiosity is being stemmed. So, paw. Yep. Oh, yeah. She is skillfully hiding her curiosity.
He does not see it. They're dead. Dead. And they got closer to me, and they had the only entrance. And I just could tell that they meant me harm. So I backed away, and one of them reached out and they grabbed me. Physically grabbed me. I have never had a hallucination grab me before. Not like that. Sometimes it feels like a ghost is touching over you, or you think that they grabbed you, but if you close your eyes and shake your head enough, you'll wake up and you'll realize you're wrong. Nothing ever touched you, it's just in your head. But that wasn't this. This was real. This felt real. So I panicked. It gets fuzzy. After that, I know I went for the vent. I know they started crawling after me. They started grabbing my legs and cutting me up. Almost clawed in a way, or maybe just afraid. Fingernails or something. It hurt.
They were cutting you, or the vent was?
Both.
I see.
I just was trying to get away. I was calling for help. I knew that Gunn was awake, so I thought maybe she'd be able to hear me. I was tried over comms, over anything. No one was responding. I didn't know what to do. Sorry.
Take as much time as you need.
I kept crawling through the fence for a while, tried to go upward. They started pulling me back a couple times and they got a good grip on me, but I managed to pull away. Don't know how I did it, but I did. Don't know how I tore the vent in half either. Halo strength for you. Well, I eventually got away from them and got to an elevator. Closed it. I figured I couldn't outrun them up the stairs. They were much faster than I was, and my legs hurt very badly. I thought they were going to kill me. I thought I was going to die. I was hitting the next floor on the elevator. I was ready to crawl out the top if I had to. The emergency exit started going up, and then it stopped. And then it started getting pulled down. And when it opened, all the bodies, the people that were chasing me were in pieces. All over the floor. And they were staring at me. Ones with eyes, anyway. Though I think I knew the ones without them were as well. It's a blur after that. Next thing I knew, I was being helped out of the elevator by Gunn and Flynn and Ram.
Did they see anything?
They saw me hurting myself. They said I was choking myself, nearly to unconsciousness.
What do you believe happened?
I find it hard to believe I did that all to myself, but the doctor said that the entire elevator was smeared with blood. The hallway leading up to it, the vent leading from maintenance to engineering, and worst of all, engineering where I was, slathered. I find it hard to believe I could reach the ceiling with that.
And that you bent things that you normally would not be able to.
The vent
Yes.
tore it in half. I don't remember doing it, but I remember grabbing it.
Adrenaline can be powerful.
No, I have a hard time believing any of it was real. It makes no sense. We're in the middle of space. No one could get here. The dead are dead. And they stay that way. It had to be in my head, but it felt.
Oh.
I can't stress how real it felt, Lauren. He looks truly, deeply perturbed.
Lorna's on a fence. She's on a fence of whether or not Hana wants comfort or if he wants. Does she need help getting down? Lorna's on a fence and she needs help. She's stuck.
It feels like one of those Playmobil things. Lauren is on his fence, and only you can help her down.
Yes. She is. Yes, puts on fire, but help. Because as an arbiter, she is supposed to help calm. And she is relatively certain that if she provides her hypothesis or her beliefs on what this may be, that would deeply unsettle his calm.
It would do the
It
opposite.
would do the opposite. I think that wherever that well is drawing from, the guilt, if it is guilt, is very strong. And you are carrying it with you. And in shock, it somehow manifests.
That was my mistake. I should have never stayed out in shock.
Yes.
After what we saw on the Iris and on that warship, the Dreadnought. He shakes his head. It was all too fresh. It was all too in the forefront. I was stressed. I was tired. I made poor decisions. And my brain just... I think for that moment it snapped. Just a little bit.
Will you be staying up for further shocks? Or future?
Not
She says
for-
future, not further.
Not for a while.
Good.
Once I am me again. No more nightmares. No, oh, I should mention that I'm having nightmares.
Oh
But
no!
no more.
A crease of worry. How long?
How long? How long? 2 months, 3 months?
And then
How long?
say time span, 2 months, 3 months. Would that put it before the Iris?
Beginning with the Iris.
Beginning with the Iris. Okay.
Heading towards the Iris
Okay.
to now.
What else was he gonna say? Because I interrupted.
Oh, I think he was just laming out the time.
Okay.
He was gonna say exactly what I've said pretty much.
Okay. So it's been weighing on your mind all this time.
I'm rather shit at checking in.
I wish you had mentioned this to myself prior.
It an expression of deep sadness kind of rolls over him for a second. Then he kind of shakes it off. Just hadn't occurred to me was under control.
4 successes. Empathy.
You remembered something then? It wasn't a bad memory. It was a good one, and one that now makes him upset. You can tell that he's being genuine. He wasn't really having problems with the nightmares he was having. He had his own way of handling it. No, he does not.
May I ask what changed?
We'll get there.
All right.
So, I'm not going back into shock for a while. And now I'm just learning. I'm gonna throw him out there if he didn't already tell you. I think he mentioned talking to you, actually. Flynn did it. The idiot.
Yes, I am aware.
Don't know what he was thinking after what he saw me go through. Probably the same thing. Didn't realize how bad it was in his head until what was in his head was in his reality. I'm doing what I can to be sympathetic. We don't know when it's going to happen until it does.
Yes.
Right. But you can be disappointed.
Yes.
It got better after that. Vacation helped a lot. Melv knew something was wrong right off the bat. Chose somewhere remote for me. He just looks down and smiles a little bit at that, sadly. It was nice.
It was nice. When he says what was nice, though, is he talking about just a vacation or something else? Oh, too.
Do all the above.
Okay.
Primarily the vacation, but a little bit of
Maybe something else was nice, too.
just fondness. There's a lot of fondness.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "Thank you for accompanying me on the planned journey. I'm sure you have noticed." And he taps on a nearby table where the flower you guys found is planted.
Yes. Thank you.
It's
for
doing well.
inviting myself. It was good.
He nods. It was a good way to forget what was happening, right? It was done. We'd gotten over it. I didn't have to think about it anymore. And then we got shanghaied by pirates. So that sucked.
I do recall that happening, yes.
Mm-hmm. And then we jump forward to everything I've already explained to you. To why I felt so uncomfortable in such a way that I don't even really remember. on that weapon station. When I was in shock jump, I felt a very specific state of sense of dread. Existential, you could call it. I felt it on that station. The same. Exact same. As when I felt those footsteps walking up behind me.
Aww, hey, buddy, I know you don't got empathy, but we're gonna do this anyways.
2 successes.
Oh. Close.
Nope.
You may continue.
Lorne's just like, oh, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't elaborate on it more. As I said, after that, it got a little fuzzy. You said that I didn't respond.
Yes.
I think I'm quickly learning that's a stress response of mine.
I suppose it is a better alternative than violence.
I never turn to it. Violence. Perhaps a lesser man would.
I think you would be surprised what someone is capable of. Even yourself.
Are you trying to imply that I would turn to violence, Lorne?
I am implying that a compromised mind is capable of many things.
Perhaps others. Shakes his head, but not this halo.
She will allow him to delude himself.
Delude, so she thinks. And then he says, when we returned with a broken box and we were to be sent in again, or I was to work with her, Freya. Yep, takes a deep breath.
Oh, what was that? Uh-huh.
No.
What was your initial for? Was that the steadying or?
Steadying himself.
Ah, so you actually beat me.
Yep, you can't read him. There's something there, but you can't tell what it is.
There was something there.
I am not a fan of violent people, Lorne. I think that's common knowledge.
Yeah.
I am no fool. I know violence takes place in all corners of the universe. I know violence takes place while I'm not looking. Because other worlds outside of Halo are capable of violence. Other worlds have not evolved past such a barbaric practice. But I want nothing to do with it. I don't mind making guns for people on the Rashi, you know why? Because I know the people on the Rashi aren't going to take my gun and shoot someone with it.
Freya, on the other hand,
Without doubt. Anything I make for her will be used to hurt someone else. I will never make a weapon for a raider.
do I need the empathy to see if that includes Ram?
You can empathy.
Wait. Oh, I missed.
Oh.
She don't know.
He looks... You can't read him for a second. There's a dark expression on his face. But he clears it. So we went back in for the box.
As I have concluded as well.
Well, you were there. I would hope you concluded it.
Yes.
Got it. Got out. Da-da. We had a plan. In case it all went wrong. Send the VIs to their ship. Let them wreak havoc. You were part of the group chat.
Yes, I was.
Well, ha. Very good thing we didn't do that.
I agree.
You heard what the worm on the ship did, right?
I did not.
Had we tried any retaliative action, it would vent the ship.
I see.
So in planning our own liberation, we instead almost planned our own demise.
And it is good that things have gone as they have.
I was upset at Mel for not going with her plan during that shock jump. Melv didn't go with that plan because of the company we were dealing with. Hadley Wright has some stake with Terra, as we're just learning. And the Morrigan has some stake with the Red Hand.
Do I need to roll anything to if anything's pertinent to Lorne?
I don't know if Lauren's kind of a very oblivious type. I don't know if
Yeah.
she'd know the names. She can ask if she wants.
Yeah, like even the first name, like, but I was asking if you think that I don't know how known these people are.
Hadley Wright is the second biggest manufacturing company in the galaxy.
Okay, so she would know that one.
It rivals Halo.
Okay.
They're known for making worlds habitable.
Okay. Would you know that? She didn't live in an habitable world.
It's like Walmart. Like
Okay,
amount of brand recognition.
Okay, gotcha. What
Hadley
was that
Wright's
one?
name is on everything.
What's it called?
The Red Hand. That one
Red
you'd
Hand,
probably have to roll
okay.
for.
Okay.
Or ask.
So what's the other one?
What is it? Out of character?
What was the other word you said?
Red Hand.
Was that okay? The red hand's
It
not
was
the... Oh, Hadley.
Hadley Wright
Okay.
and the Red Hands.
Gotcha. So Hadley Wright is the one she would have recognized.
Yes.
The red hands...
Probably not.
Well, I got a baby fringe-wise, so we'll roll brains fringe-wise.
Brains fringe-wise.
Who
You'll
fucking
see.
knows? She knows.
They're a drug cartel.
Oh. Okay.
Mm-hmm. One of the big five in the area that we live in. The Apex Expanse.
I see.
The Morgan is owned by the Red Hands. The Red Hands know where the Morgan is. Hadley Wright probably knows where that box is, or knows that the Morgan is going to be exchanging with them. They've probably already had contact. So should something happen to the Morgan while it is on its way to Hadley Wright, or while it is employed by the Red Hands, it falls on who? This isn't a metaphorical.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome to answer.
Sorry, I'm slightly zoning. The answer is us, right? Out of character.
Yes.
Because she's paying more attention than I'm late.
It's okay. It's okay.
Ourselves.
Exactly. It'd fall on us. Every single person on this ship, on the roster for the Ross Sea, would probably receive a bounty. And he didn't want that. So he didn't try anything, and that got held against him.
By who?
Rye. Her plan wasn't flawed, but I don't think she fully understood what he was trying to say either. They weren't hearing each other. I'm not going to tell her I told you so. I don't think she needs to hear that right now.
No. Communication breakdown does happen.
We touched base.
I do understand where both parties are coming from.
And they're both stubborn as rocks.
Indeed.
So now that brings us to here. No, it doesn't. I'm sorry. Someone got shot in between.
Yes.
He looks distantly at the wall.
I am rolling, however, to see if that's the thing that's bothering him. Weehoo!
That's the thing.
Weehoo.
That's the ticket. I can't even look at Rhyme right now. Makes me feel sick. You weren't there, were you?
I was.
He looks disheartened. Almost angry.
The expression she wears on her face is almost peaceful.
It's always peaceful as Lord.
That's true. I do not hold his action against him.
quiet for a bit before he says, "That makes one of us."
I see you have not forgiven him then.
I don't know how to feel about this, or the expectation that I am supposed to just forgive him for such an action. For that.
As it goes against the core belief. She doesn't say the core, she says your core belief.
He nods. Go ahead and empathy. He's gonna try. He's gonna try and hide it. He's gonna try.
You
Okay.
did it.
Damn. Okay. He says yes. Everything I stand for. He just turns his head away. Frustrated.
It is good to have morals. It is good to hold on to them. I do believe the situation Ram was placed in was a difficult one.
What was it? I heard that he shot a man in the face.
He had been taken away by his, well, I shouldn't say his captain, just by Freya. I assume they had a discussion. We were not privy to it. When he returned, well, you know what happened there. But he was not without injury himself.
He just closes his eyes.
He was not without injuries himself. Sorry. I'm a little far away from my mic.
It's okay. It doesn't matter.
I think in this case it might. It is a very careful thing, this balance between two forces of ourselves and of the Morgan. As individuals, the Raiders are people, but as a whole, they are underherd.
The Raiders are moralist, cruel creatures, willing to do such terrible things.
Is Ram a moralist, cruel creature?
He looks hurt. And conflicted.
To look at things
Like
so
he's
black and white is to put people in corners and cages. It would be easy to say this world, this universe, is made of only good and evil, and that there's nothing in between. But that is not the case. It is so complex and so twisting in on itself that to classify someone with something so stark is to forget many other intricacies of their personality and their own living and livelihood.
He looks away from Lorne.
It is easy to say that killing is terrible, because it is terrible in its own way, that it steals the life of someone, and they have nothing left after that, of course. But people die. People live. I have had it told to myself that we as a Rossi, we are scavengers. And we scavenge the corpses of things. But what is it that leaves those corpses behind for us? It is a cycle. And perhaps in a more ideal universe, one that was not uncaring and oblivious to our existence, we could live peaceful lives without death ending violently. But as the universe we live in is as it is, and as things are outside our own control, that we must take things as they are sometimes. Forgiveness is such a strong weapon against the erosion of apathy that this universe provides us amply.
Sorry, I was just writing down that quote quick.
You
He's
can
quiet.
forgive, but you also do not have to forget.
Perhaps you're right. But it shakes its head. I just...
I know it goes against everything that you stand for.
It makes me sick. Lauren, it makes me genuinely sick.
I know.
I wanted him to be better than that.
And in an ideal universe, where he was not forced in such a position, perhaps he could have been. But as it is, our own lives may have been on that risk. Had he not taken one life, it could have meant many more. The scales and balance, they are not always even. As much as we wish they would be.
Sometimes the take is more than the give.
A person's whole life against the feather.
How do you handle Such a thing, you say you can forgive but not forget, but how do you handle one instance tainting an entire well of experience? Recontextualizing, retaking, burning in mass. Oh,
I try to remember the good. I try to hold on to that.
but what happens when you remember the good and all it brings is bitter? Because that's what's happening right now. And I don't like it.
And perhaps the best route is to let time handle those wounds and see if they heal. And then if they do not, well, then they do not.
I wish that answer felt satisfying.
It is the nature of the universe.
Everything's the nature of the universe with you.
She does the slow cat blink.
He just smiles grimly. No genuine venom behind that statement.
Mm-hmm. It is. Have you spoken to him since?
No. No, I haven't even been in the same room.
I think you should at least speak to him. And if you still feel bitterness after that, then embrace the space
Take
you have.
time.
Yes.
All right. Fine, sure. Give me 2 days.
All right.
I'll talk to him by the end of the week.
2 days.
He nods.
She
Just
nods
need
at
to
him.
collect my straws a bit, if you know. Build some
Steel
some
yourself.
bravery.
Yes. I understand. These things take courage.
I'm a man of very little.
And yet there is some there. I can feel it.
He looks. It's like that small smile he had is there, but there's just this weight behind it. This pressing weight. He says, "Thank you, Lauren."
Thank you for sharing with me
He nods.
and allowing yourself to consider the option.
I'll stick to it.
All right.
Can't hide forever on some things.
Yes. Especially since the ship isn't so big.
As I'm quickly learning.
Mm-hmm.
There's only so many times I can change hallways or rooms last second.
People
It's
will start
becoming
to notice.
exhausting. I'm sure they already have. I'm not exactly being subtle.
Possibly.
Have you noticed?
I rolled that you did, right?
Mhm.
I have.
And everyone else has noticed.
She gives a little Lorne smile.
I think I'm going to have a bit of a lie down.
All right.
But perhaps later we could reconvene, not on arbitral means.
That sounds good.
All right.
All right.
I look forward to it.
Yes.
Thank you again, Lauren.
You're welcome, Anna. Take
Your
care.
wisdom. I will do my best. Your wisdom is. This ship would be sullied without it.
Thank you for the compliment.
He nods. Now get.
All right. And she'll wiggle out of the chair. I'll see you soon, Anna.
Till later.
And she closes the door.
And he will sit and he will not take a nap.
He will have a good think.
He will sit and he will have a long think. Which the long think and this meeting will later lead him to confront and talk to Ram. So
Hello.
that explains why he was the one that approached Ram.
Nice.
Yay!
Yay!
By the way, that RP pained me.